Hello, everyone. JDev has returned once again to give you exactly what you want. And of course, that would be more of me, that amazing, beautiful backdrop that's always behind me, giving you my thoughts and my opinions, and hopefully in this particular video, some award winning expert analysis on a certain topic subject. I had to come back and talk more about the most recent episode of Game of Thrones. It was an amazing episode, and there's been a lot of feedback regarding the episode. So, I'm going to talk about the episode. I'm going to give spoilers. So, if you're not caught up with Game of Thrones through the most recent episode or even through the beginning of season 8, don't watch the video. You've been warned. So, season 8, episode 3, The Long Night. What an amazing episode. I like it from beginning to end. And okay, there's one thing. There's not a lot of deaths in the episode. I thought there were going to be more deaths, and there should have been a few more impactful deaths. But I think, spoiler alert, Jorah's death was pretty crazy, and I love the episode. Now, a lot of people, and it seems like a lot of people that read the books, are kind of, it was okay, but this is what should have happened. Jon Snow should have been the one that killed the Night King. And that would be what we thought would happen. But I like the misdirection. I like the fact that Arya Stark is way more amazing than we thought she was. She killed the Night King. It was amazing. I loved it. And here's my question to people, or kind of my comments, I should say. So the same thing kind of lies with Walking Dead. Just because it happened in the comic book or just because it happened in the book doesn't mean it has to go that specific way on the TV show. I like deviation. I like a little change when it comes to stuff like that. That way, it's not so predictable. So I haven't read the books myself of Game of Thrones or the Song of Ice and Fire, so I don't know exactly how they go. I've heard about them, but in my head right now, I can't think of the actual factual information I've heard when it comes to the Night King and whatnot. But I love the fact, and okay, I admit his death was very anticlimactic to the fact that he really didn't do anything. I mean, he has been built up since not necessarily the first episode, but the White Walkers in general had been built up since the very first episode. And then for them to die in this episode, are they all really dead? Possibly, but that's a question you might get answered later on in the season. But I do think that the Night King and Jon Snow should have had some kind of epic showdown, and not just a stare-off. They should have had a sword fight that lasted like 5 minutes long, just to get that out of the way, because I think that's what a lot of people wanted. But I would not change the ending of the Night King for anything. I loved what happened. I love the fact that he's going to reach for his weapon, and then Arya comes jumping in there. He catches her, which was really crazy, because I thought that was the end of Arya. For about 3 seconds there, I'm like, no, they're killing Arya. And then she drops the dagger, catches it in her other hand, and stabs the Night King. I really loved how that happened. And what I also loved is the fact that nothing was spoiled at all. Nothing at all. Except for the fact that episode 3 had one of the biggest battles in Game of Thrones history. That's the only thing I knew about the episode. I didn't know Melisandre was coming back in this episode, so I was kind of surprised. I knew she would. I was hoping she would come back this season. I thought she would come back this season, but I didn't know it was going to be in this episode. A little random, by the way, but nonetheless, I liked it. And yeah, there weren't a lot of impactful deaths, like huge characters. I think they could have killed one of the main characters off. Maybe Daenerys, or maybe even Jon or Tyrion or Jaime. Not that I want Jaime to die at all, but it would have added something to the episode. But I think Jorah did great. Beric did great. Lyanna Mormont did awesome. She gets swatted away by the giant, then comes running up to the giant. The giant picks Lyanna up, squishes her in his hand, and then as he's about to eat her, I think, she takes the weapon that she has and stabs him in the eye, and giant goes down, and she kills him all by herself, I should say. And she's of course dead in the process too. But that was great. That was a lot of people say that's the most impactful death. And for a character that's only been in like 7 episodes or 5 episodes, I wouldn't go that far. I think Jorah's death was crazy. I loved every bit of it. Okay, yeah, he was kind of protection for Daenerys. He showed up out of nowhere to protect her. I'll give it to Daenerys though. She picked up a sword and started fighting with him. Because Sansa, you won't see Sansa pick up a sword. Sansa don't know how to fight at all. But Jorah just, he'd go down and get back up. He got stabbed. He got sliced with swords, and he just kept coming. So I really like that. And Jorah's one of my favorite characters on Game of Thrones. He's definitely in my top 12, top 13. And I've liked him. He was like the first person I liked watching the show. And then, of course, Jaime and Arya are my top 2. But Jorah's definitely one of my favorite characters on Game of Thrones. And you guys will all get my updated lists of Game of Thrones stuff. Episodes, characters, least favorite characters. All that stuff I will complete one more time after the season's over with. So, yeah, it was a great episode. I, of course, rated it a 10 out of 10. I don't know what else they could do other than maybe to kill one of the main characters off, but I'm sure we'll get that eventually. And I'm sure we'll get Grey Worm's death eventually. I see it coming. And is Cersei going to die? Or will Cersei be left in the end? Chances are that's not accurate, but I don't know. Something, since they won this battle, it makes me believe that they got to lose the next one and have major losses. So that's my interpretation of that. And of course, I'm sure they'll try to give us a lot more misdirection. And I'm going to pay extra close attention to things that they do. That way I don't get fooled again. Man, I did not. When Arya jumped out of the Night King, that was, yeah. I'm speechless. I was actually kind of speechless. Like, my reaction to it was really delayed. Once it was all finally over, I'm like, oh, that's kind of what I did, actually. So, hope everybody enjoyed the episode. If you want to give a comment, write your opinions on the episode. Again, just because it happens in the books doesn't mean it needs to translate to the TV series. They can deviate from the books. And you know what? The books aren't even done yet. They're ahead of the books right now, aren't they? So, I mean, what more can you do? I'm sure they've consulted George R.R. Martin about this, but I like it. I like it. And, another thing, I know the episode was too dark. It was dark. You're meant to be scared watching it. It's supposed to have a creepy element to it. If it was in bright lights, it wouldn't be as good. I mean, that part with the, Melisandre lighting up all the Dothraki weapons and then them going out and, to face the whites, and then one by one all their lights disappear, that was eerie as shit. So I liked it. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but I think I do. So make sure you leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on the most recent episode of Game of Thrones. We got 3 more left, and hopefully maybe we'll get even more of a crazy episode. You never know. And of course, I'll be back again soon. Peace.